Hey everybody, it's Abby. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. So this is the second time that I'm filming this because I had a revelation that I probably should have noticed earlier, but I redid my whole entire system. It's the same concept, but I just redid it, updated it a little bit, so I'll tell you all about that in this video. So when I originally made this plan to pay off my debt, what I did was I really focused in on my budget and tightened it up, making sure there wasn't anything hanging around or something that I was spending too much on. I made a really strict budget for myself, and then I took the amount of money that I had left over after I paid all of my bills and food and gas and all that stuff, and then I was going to use that money to do the debt snowball method, which I'm still doing that, but that's just explaining to you how I got here. So I took that extra money and I applied it to one of my debt accounts, and then the plan is to, once I pay off that account, then I'll take all of that money, all of the extra money plus the minimum payment, and then move that over into the second debt account, and then repeat again with the third. But now, just an update on the accounts. So before I had credit card number 1, number 2, and then my student loan, so that's 3 accounts. However, like I mentioned in previous videos, the credit card number 2 is currently on a 0% interest plan, but it's not going to be for long. And if you haven't had that happen before, you don't have a credit card like that, basically, once that interest-free period is up, so say some cards it's like 12, 18, or even like 24 months with 0% interest, if you have a balance when that time period ends, then they charge you interest on your entire balance. So I had a balance of approximately $5,000, and with the interest rate that I had, that would have been a lot of money. So I decided to, I reluctantly decided to go ahead and open a third credit card with a balance transfer offer. So it doesn't have the 0% for purchases, which is helpful for me. But it does have 0% on balance transfers for 18 months. So the only problem is that I didn't get approved for exactly enough to cover the entire balance, but I got pretty close. So I'm going to transfer everything that I can to that new card, and that way I won't have any interest charged like that, because it would be a ridiculous amount. So I did open that card this month, but the revelation that I had was that my interest-free period, not interest-free, 0% for that period isn't over until later than I actually thought. I thought it was going to be over in like May, but it's actually June. So what I'm going to do is I'll wait until I open that card, because the way the card works is you have 4 months from the time you open the account to do the balance transfer and receive the 0% offer. So it's open now as of the end of February. So I'm going to have to wait a little bit to open it, because if I've already got 0% on the one card, I don't need to transfer it yet until closer to time. You just want to make sure, if you do that, give it like a couple weeks or a month maybe, just in case something happens and the transfer falls through, that we can get it worked out and you don't get slapped with the interest while you're trying to make the transfer. But the good news is, with all of this, that I am able to pay off my debt actually quite a bit faster, because some things have changed with my budget, and some of my bills have gone down a little bit, because I paid off my phone, so I only pay for service now. I don't pay for the phone itself, and a couple other things where my bills have gone down just slightly. So I was able to rework my budget and account for that, because I haven't been in the past few months, and it's kind of gotten out of whack. So I fixed all that, and let's see. So I had a monthly tracking sheet, so I had on here like every month, and then I had what I paid toward all of my loan or my debt accounts, and then how much I put in savings, and then like my total debt balance, total savings balance, and then my net growth. And I redid that to account for the new card coming up. So I'm calling this one Plan 2.0. Where the way I redid my my budget is that I have, let me look at what it was the first time. So my payments are actually about the same as, like, my bills and things are about the same, but I did add in some categories like medical expenses and car expenses, just to save for those specifically. So that's why it might, like, if you look at that plan based off of, or like against the first one, it's about the same. So my average income is about $2,000 a month, and my total bills add up to $750 a month. So that gives me $1,250 to put towards debt and savings. Again, that $2,000 is just an average. It'll go up in depending on the time of year, just because I work in retail, so we get more hours like around October to December than we do like now in February and March, where we don't really have that many sales. Oh, and we still do. My store does have a lot of sales, but it's just, it gets lower this time of year. But it'll pick up soon because of the spring. People are like redecorating and all that. So I have a shorter term plan from now until, why did I point at myself? From now until when I have to transfer the money to that card. So between March, April, and May, I will be able to pay off credit card number 1. So for March, I'm going to put $670 on credit card number 1 and $60 on the second credit card, $75 on the loan. $60 on the credit card, $75 on the loan are the minimum payments. And then in April, I will only have about $330 left on credit card number 1, so that'll be paid off at the beginning of April. And then on credit card number 2, I'm going to take the rest of my available like money to extra to put towards that and put that toward credit card number 2, so it'll be $400, and then still $75 on the loan. And then since I'm going to transfer at the end of May or at the beginning of June, I won't have a payment on the new card until probably the middle to end of June. So I'm going to put the entire extra toward credit card number 2 to pay that down, to get it as small as possible for when I do have to end up paying interest. And then again, $75 toward the loan. I don't know if I said that or not. So at the end of May, I will have credit card number 1 paid off, $1,190 on credit card number 2, which will bring it down to $3,800 balance. So that'll be just a few $100s over the limit of the new card. So I won't. The interest will be minimal once that comes around. And then $225 toward the loan, which will bring that down to $3,275 balance. So then after that, because credit card number 1 will be paid off, I won't have that money, that minimum payment or anything to put toward that. It'll be totally zero. I don't know if I'm gonna cut it up or put it in my safe box or what, but I'm not gonna use it. I haven't actually used that card in a long time. And then, so after the transfer, I'm not sure exactly how much of it I'm going to transfer, because there is a small fee to transfer, and you can't, like, I can't just transfer the entire balance to it, because then, or I can't like use the whole maximum limit to transfer the money. I have to leave a little bit for the fees, because you can't go over. So I'll have to figure out if I should do that or not. But so I estimated about $3,200 to transfer. That way I don't absolutely max it out, because it looks bad on your credit if you have a card that's maxed out. And then I'll have $600 left on the old one. So then I will put all the money towards paying off the credit card number 2, which is about $600. So that should be like in 1 month after I transfer. And then credit card number 3 will have about $3,200-ish, depending on if I transfer more than that or not. So then credit card number 3, all the money that I'll have available to pay toward that is about $700 a month. So that'll be paid off in less than 5 months. And then once I do that, that's gone. I'll have all that money to put towards my loan, which is going to be, I'll pay about $775 per month, and that'll be paid off again in another 5 months. So I just wrote down, I redid my whole monthly tracking sheet, and then I put like estimated what amount of payment I'm going to make on each one, just in pencil, and then once I make it, I'll rewrite it in pen. I don't know why you needed to know that, but that's how I am figuring all this out, and then like added them all up to make sure that it equaled to the amount that I need to pay, just so I don't have any surprises. I didn't do that with my loan though, because my loan amount fluctuates quite a bit because of interest, and my bank does a program where why can I not say this sentence? My bank does a program where they'll round up your purchases and then put that toward your student loan, so that's why it can kind of fluctuate a little bit. I'll figure that out once the loan is like the least priority, because it's not that big of a payment each month, and it's not going to go anywhere. So anyways, talking about what I did in February with the debt payments. So I did pay $70 toward my credit card number 1 and $75 toward my loan. ever. If you've seen my no buy update, or if you saw the thumbnail even, you probably figure out what I did. And so I paid what I was supposed to on credit card number 2, like $460. But that kind of canceled it out, so I put 0 on my tracking sheet because it's a really, really long story, and I'm going to make a whole video about it, but basically I'm getting a tattoo later this year, and so it took quite a chunk of that for the deposit. And I did want to put that on my card, the deposit on my card at least, and then I'm going to save up to pay cash for the rest of it, so I don't have to put that on a card. But yeah, so that was probably not the most responsible thing to do, but I have a reason, so just stay tuned for the video whenever it comes out. It'll probably be several months after I actually get it, so I can show it to you. And yeah, so I didn't make that much of a dent. It was about, I think, when I added up my debt balance, my balance only went up about 200, geez. My balance only went up $20. So the payment was like $20 more than my total it should have been, you know what I mean? Like it only went up $20 from last month versus being paid down some, but that's okay. I'm glad that it's almost pretty much even, not too significant of a difference. And then my savings balance was up $776.16. So I got my tax return this month. That's where that came from. Then my net growth this month, because of that, was $331.80. And I wrote my tracking and I put the net growth in the wrong place. So they're all like in the wrong column. Like the first one should have been nothing, because you can't have net growth from nothing to something. So I did that wrong, and hopefully I can remember to do it correctly going forward. I don't want to redo this whole sheet. But yeah, so that's where I am from February. So I didn't make that much progress. I did make progress in my savings though, so that's good. I'm hoping, my goal for my savings is to have $5,000 as soon as possible. So, because that's about how much I would need for a down payment on a house, especially with my budget. If your budget is a little bit higher than mine, then you probably need more than $5,000. And also, so my trip coming up in March. So I'm filming this on March the 1st, and I'll leave on March the 6th. So I don't know when this. Oh, actually, this goes up tomorrow. So this will go up on the March 2nd. But my plan for the trip. So my company is paying, but if you haven't seen my videos before, I am going on a trip for work. I don't think I've ever said specifically what it's for. I don't want to say what company it is, just because I feel weird about that, and yeah. But basically, they're opening a new location in a different state, and they have asked around to different stores, and so there's going to be a few people, 1, maybe 2 people from each store. There's 2 from my store. That are going to go help set that up. We're going to set all the shelves and put all the new product up and stuff before they open at the end of March. So, because of that, the company is paying for all of the hotel expenses. They're paying for $25 a day for food, and like some mileage, like I think 50 some cents per mile, and then you also get paid for your travel time. So like, it takes about 4.5, maybe 5 hours to get there, so I'll get paid for the 4.5, maybe 5 hours at my normal pay rate, and probably a lot of overtime, because in that time, we'll be working like 7 days a week, probably 12 hours a day, just so they can get us done as fast as possible. So, because of all that, it's like you get the pay on the regular schedule, like I would be working at my own store, but for the expenses like the mileage and the food and all that stuff, they cut you a check after you get back. So what I'm gonna do is this. I hate having this like falls right in in the middle and disrupts my plan, but I'm going to take my credit card number 2 and just hold on for a second. I'm gonna take my credit card number 2, write down the beginning balance, or like the balance that it is now, and then I'm going to put all my expenses on that card, just so it doesn't mess up my budget, because I'm going to have some extra expenses that I wouldn't normally have, and that way I don't have to mess everything up and recalculate, and it'll throw off my numbers. I'm going to put that on my credit card, and then once that reimbursement check comes in, I'm going to put that whole check onto that, in which my expenses are going to be less than the check because they're paying like 50 some cents a mile, and I don't pay, like, my card does not cost that much in gas per mile. And all like the food and stuff, I know I can eat for less than $25 a day, so I'm going to try to do that and save some money. So I'm hoping that I probably will only spend like maybe $200, maybe $300 with food and everything on that card, and then I'll just put that whole check toward paying on my card, which will also offset some of my plans for the for like when I'm going to pay it off, but it'll actually help, so I don't mind that to have to change it around because it's good. You know, I don't want to have to change it around because I get behind. So, so I'm going to put all of that towards my credit card number 2, and then so any overtime I get that's more than, you know, the estimated $1,000 a paycheck ish that I am estimating now. Anything above that, I'm going to put half of it toward my savings, and then half of it toward paying off extra debt. And that'll just be on top of the normal monthly payment, so I'm not going to like only pay off my debt with that. I'm going to put it on top of, you know, whatever. And which, if that actually, if depending on how much I get from that, it might completely pay off my second credit card and save me from paying any interest at all, because that'll be around the time, I don't know when they're going to send that check, but I'll have until June to pay off my card, and, you know, before the interest hits. So that should potentially could save me from any interest whatsoever on that card. So that would be amazing versus the like almost $2,000 that it would be at this point. So, and I also, like, just because of that tentative plan, like I said, for March, April, and May, I did go ahead and write down every single paycheck that I'm going to get, like what the date's going to be, and then like exactly what I'm going to pay each check, because like I mentioned before in videos, if you're making like a really large payment each month on like your credit card or your loan or whatever, you can split it up into 2 payments as long as you know, obviously it's going to be, you need to have a payment before the due date. So if I'm paying like $700 on one credit card, I'm not going to be able to pay $700 of my $1,000, that paycheck, toward that credit card. So I'm going to split it up into like $350 and $350, or $400 and $300 or whatever, just so I don't have all of that leaving my account at once. I can split it up a little bit, and the bank doesn't care as long as they get their money. I think there's a rule where you can't pay twice in one day, but that, you know, obviously, if you're splitting it up between paychecks, it's going to be a few weeks apart. And also, paying that way can save you some money on interest. It's not a whole lot, but if you, so say you pay a little bit, at least a little bit, like on your first paycheck, and let's say if your interest hits like at the end of the month, then you'll be that little bit less of a balance, so you won't have as much interest charged later on at the end of the month. Hopefully that makes sense, but yeah, you can save on interest if you make multiple payments. If you can. If you can make all the payment up front, then that's fine, but making smaller payments could potentially help you in interest. And also, some credit cards do charge you interest per day, like that's called the daily periodic rate instead of the annual percentage rate. They talked about that when I worked for the bank, and I didn't really get it, but basically interest is like accrued, like it's kind of on a monthly basis, but also because of like days. I don't know exactly how it works. So if you're sitting there and you're looking at your APR and your balance, it might not be the same as what they charge you. So that's because of the daily periodic rate. And I actually already filmed an all about credit video, like not entirely everything you need to know about credit, but at least everything that I think you need to know, just based off of my experience working at the bank. And talk more about that, and as a user of credit myself. So stay tuned for that. It'll be probably toward the end of March that I'll be able to get that put up. It's pretty long. And leave me in the comments if you want to leave me any suggestions about what your credit tips are. And also I want to do a follow-up video to that when I get back from the trip, about like misconceptions that people have about credit and how to like debunk those, or how to fix them, I guess. I don't know what the terminology is, but you get what I'm saying. So like any misconceptions about credit, let me know in the comments below, or any questions you have about it, also let me know. And that's about it. Hopefully you don't get too mad at me. I know a few people have unsubscribed already because of my videos, so sorry about that, but I I could not pass this up to get the tattoo because it was like absolutely perfect timing. I wasn't even actively looking to get a tattoo either. It just kind of fell into my lap, so to speak. So, yeah, that's about it. So let me know what you think, and let me know if you are doing the debt payoff too, the debt snowball, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.